Welcome to World Traveler Cooking, where we cover interesting foods and interesting cuisines from around the world. Today, we're going to make Malfatti. Now, these are from Sorrento. They're kind of similar to Tuscan gnudi, but they're a little bit different. They're sort of a regional variation on the same theme. These are effectively cheese dumplings that are boiled and then served, in this case, typically topped with melted butter and cheese. Now, our ingredients, I'll also have some butter that I'll use. I don't have that out yet, but I have 220 grams of flour, 80 grams of breadcrumbs, 120 grams of grana padano cheese, plus another 40 grams for topping. I'll use 200 out of the 250 grams in here of ricotta, half this onion. I have 400 grams of frozen spinach. Now this is fine, but if you're using fresh spinach, you'll want to use at least 600 grams. And yeah, so that's that. And we have a little bit of nutmeg we'll add, plus 2 eggs. Anyway, those are our ingredients. Let's go ahead and get started. Now first, you should, if you're using frozen spinach, just defrost it and squeeze it well. And if you're using fresh spinach, you'll boil it in water for a minute or two and then strain it and squeeze it well. You typically add some salt to your water when you boil it too. So, into our pan, we're going to add butter, knob of butter, and our onion. And we'll saute this for a few minutes. So the onions are nice and fragrant and nice and translucent. So now I am going to stir in this spinach and I'm going to saute this around for around 5 minutes until everything's nice and dry. So it's been a couple minutes, and since I did a really good job of squeezing out the water, this is already pretty dry. So I am going to take this off the heat in just a minute or so, and then we'll get started on the dough. So in a mixing bowl, we will add our flour, 200 grams of ricotta, our grana padano, 120 grams of grana padano, and our eggs. 1 and 2. And we will mix this up. So once this is relatively well mixed together, we'll add our breadcrumbs, and I'm going to freshly grate just a little bit of nutmeg onto the top. How much you'd like depends on you, of course. But the general guidance I've seen in Italian recipes is a generous pinch. And then we're going to mix this together. And this will take a few moments, so I'll be back. Once this dough's come together, we're going to knead in the spinach. And it shouldn't be super hot, but it's okay. Then we will gently drop these into the water. And once they come to the surface and float, we will give them 4 to 5 minutes before we scoop them out and get ready to serve them. I will gently stir them once to make sure that they don't stick to the bottom, and then let's wait for them to float. And they're just starting to float. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and then we'll be back. So it's now been 5 minutes since they started floating, so I'm just going to scoop them out with my wire mesh sieve, and I'll put them in another bowl, and then we will toss them with butter, and we'll go from there. So to finish these off, I'm just going to take a few of them, enough for a serving or so. More than that, more than I have in there, but these are pretty hot. And they need to be pretty hot for this stage. But we also don't want them very wet, So that's why I'm draining them separately in this other bowl. And I'm tossing them with some butter that I've already put in and a bit of grana padano. And I'm just going to stir these up. So I'm going to toss these with a little bit of butter and grana padano. And just to finish them off, and then I will just go ahead and lay them out on a plate. You could place a nice piece of basil or something, or maybe position it relative to some vegetables or so on the plate just for some extra color there. And now for the taste test. So the grana padano comes across really subtly. It's not really heavy. It's really hard to pick out individual flavors, but this is actually a fairly rich dish. I guess the flavors I taste most are actually the spinach and the garlic. Sorry, not garlic, onion. This is very nice. It's definitely a nice light summer dish. And it's, I don't know, just kind of makes me happy. Now, if you like content like this, you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything to say about this video, I'd love to hear from you. Recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.